We are less than 2 weeks to the college basketball season, and we're proud to announce another season of incredible coverage across CBS, CBS Sports Network, and Paramount Plus. And it will conclude with the Final Four at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio this season. We are going to have 9 of the top 10 teams in the preseason poll across our networks. We've got Kansas, the #1 team, a couple of times. Iowa State is a top 5 team. We're going to have them 4 times. How about UConn, the 2-time defending champs? We'll have them once on CBS, a couple of times on CBS Sports Network as we begin one of our greatest seasons, maybe the best season across our networks, especially on CBS Sports Network. And a part of our coverage, a huge part of our coverage, is going to be 2-time national championship head coach Jay Wright. Got the Villanova V on with us, joining us from Philadelphia ahead of the season. And Coach, we expanded our coverage of the best conference in America right now, 20 additional Big 12 games. You've been a part of some great conferences over the years in the Big East, but has any conference looked as tough going into the season than the Big 12?
I'll tell you what, Chris, I remember when we first went to 16 teams in the Big 12, in the Big East, and we had 11 make the tournament. This Big 12 season this year could surpass that with 11 NCAA tournament teams. This is as strong a conference as I've ever seen. Teams like that we don't talk about a lot. Teams like Cincinnati are coming off. I heard a great scrimmage against Ohio State. Teams we all know about the Kansases and we know about what Iowa State's done in the last couple of years, but this conference is going to be incredible. It's going to be fun to do it on CBS.
You mentioned Kansas, the preseason #1. Last season, I feel like they're coming into this year with a little chip on their shoulder because a 5th place finish in the Big 12. They got a 4 seed in the tournament, bounced opening weekend. Why is Bill Self's team expected to perhaps return to the top this season?
You know, Chris, the only reason they finished like that at the end was injuries. You know, if they would have been healthy, I thought that team, even last year's team, even though they didn't have great depth, if they could have kept that starting 5 healthy, could have made a deep run, even a Final Four run. But this year, bringing back DeJuan Harris, Hunter Dickinson, KJ Adams, veterans that were on last year's team that was #1 during part of the season, is going to be a great foundation to build on. But they're bringing in all kinds of great transfers, young guys. I have listened to Bill, and I've talked to Bill Self about his depth this year. I think he feels as good about his depth this year as he has at any time that he's been at Kansas.
Of course, Kansas winning a few years ago, Baylor winning just before that, and they are one of those top 10 teams in the Big 12. What did Scott Drew do in the portal after he passed on that Kentucky opening?
Yeah, that was a tough one for him, Chris. I know he struggled with that Kentucky offer, but he really wanted to be at Baylor, and he wanted to be at Baylor for the rest of his career. And I'll tell you, you know, they've got Nunn and Love at the guard spot coming back. They've got experienced guards coming back, but then adding Jeremy Roach, Norshad Omier, from not just talented players, Chris, but players that have been on championship teams. Norshad Omier from Miami, Jeremy Roach playing for Duke. He's added depth, but he's added a winning mentality to a team that's already a winner, right, and already has that DNA.
As good as the Big 12 is, they don't have the defending champ. That's in the Big East. That's UConn. Going for 3 straight, coming into the season ranked #3 in the preseason poll, and we have 3 games involving UConn on CBS networks. But when you look at everything they've lost, I mean, 4 to the NBA draft just this year, and all they lost before last year's run when we had them, I think they were 7th in the preseason poll last year. Yeah. How recognizable is this year's team going to be?
Not as much as last year. They're a little bit younger. But, you know, you talked about some of the games that we haven't, you know, on that March 1st, we got that triple header, UConn, Providence, Seton Hall, St. John's, and then Cincinnati, Houston. That's going to be incredible. I don't know where I'm going to be yet on that day, but that is going to be a great basketball day. I hope I get to see all of them. But, you know, to get back to UConn, Alex Karaban, a great leader coming back. And then obviously Hassan Diarra, who last year, sixth man of the year, would have started on any other team in the country, right? And then Samson Johnson up front, the big guy. But the transfer that they got from St. Mary's, that little guard, is so good, man. He is going to be so smart leading that team. And we talked about championship DNA. They have it. It's in their culture. The guys they're bringing in understand it. Their freshmen bringing in that are coming in understand it. And that's something that is really hard to manufacture these days with players transferring. You can get talented guys, but if they don't understand what it takes to win, it takes a long time to teach them that. And that's what I think Danny Hurley's got going at UConn. The guys that he recruits, they're explaining it to them and they're demanding it of them before they even get there. And same thing with their transfers.
I want to talk about a talented player. North Carolina might have the best player in college basketball in R.J. Davis. We have them twice on CBS, including the CBS Sports Classic at Madison Square Garden in December. Davis, one of the favorites for Player of the Year. What else does Hubert Davis have around him for number 9 North Carolina?
Well, I do love the CBS Sports Classic. That's another great event because it's in New York, it's in the Garden, and we're going to see 4 great teams that day. Carolina, everybody wants to see what this UCLA team's like, and then we're going to see Kentucky and Ohio State. But I think Elliot Cadeau in the backcourt is going to be really important for North Carolina at the point guard position. They've always got great point guards at Carolina, but it allows R.J. Davis to play off the ball, and that's where I think you really saw him skyrocket last year. The guy to keep an eye on is Cade Tyson. He's a transfer, 6'7", 6'8" shooter. He played last year mid-major level, but he can shoot it, and he's got great size. And I think he's going to be really important for them because they've got some size up front, but they need that extra shooting ability on the perimeter.
And we're only about a month away, Coach, from a really fun Thanksgiving on CBS because we have Bears-Lions, and then right after that, we've got college basketball and one of the more interesting teams. It's Coach Cal's Arkansas Razorbacks going up against Illinois in Kansas City. So many people wondering what that program is going to look like with such a recognizable coach kind of starting over and still going at the age of 65. What's this team going to look like?
He's incredible. I'm telling you, Cal's got some of his Kentucky guys. He's got some great freshmen coming in. Boogie Flam, one of the best point guards in high school basketball. But he's also got some good transfers. But what's unique about John Calipari is this era of the transfer portal where teams are struggling, putting together chemistry. You think of anybody who's done that their whole career better than John Calipari, and there isn't anybody. So him moving to Arkansas in this 1 year and having to put a team together, there's no one that's more prepared to do this than him. And what's interesting is this Illinois team lost a lot too, and they've got some young international players coming in, but they've got talent and depth also. I think Illinois and Arkansas are 2 of the teams that probably have the most new players of the highly talented teams, and it's going to be interesting to see how both of these teams are ready that early on Thanksgiving Day. At the end, I think they're both going to be there in the end.
You look at the coaching carousel and all that's changed, including Coach Cal leaving Kentucky for Arkansas, Mark Pope taking over at Kentucky. But there we have Virginia highlighted. Tony Bennett stepping away a week ago. Ron Sanchez, the interim head coach. Look, Tony Bennett had the emotional press conference. He's only 55 years old. We look at him as a guy that was in his prime, a lot like you when you stepped away at the age of 60, Coach. Coach Bennett saying that the game in college athletics is not in a healthy spot. What did you make of his decision and what he said about his decision to leave?
Well, it's really interesting, Chris. There's 2 points here. I don't particularly agree with Tony that the game's not in a good spot. There are some issues that really need to be taken care of. But if you look at the talent and the guys that are staying in college, look at some of these top teams we just talked about, they've all got juniors and seniors playing on their teams that are going to get their degrees. They're going to make some money in college. They're going to grow and mature, and they're going to be prepared for life after basketball, and they're going to be more prepared for the NBA. Now, the other side of it, what people don't see is what Tony's talking about behind the scenes, the transfer portal, the NIL, what's going on behind the scenes just has to be cleaned up. We've got to get to a point where college basketball has its own structure of leadership, much like college football has the CFA. I think college basketball has to have their own leadership, their own commissioner, get the coaches involved in making the rules, and then at least have some guidelines around NIL and transfer portal. NIL and transfer portal are a good thing. We just have to have some guidelines. And I think Tony was just frustrated with the lack of guidelines, and he felt like he couldn't be an educator. And rather than complain about it, which he didn't want to do, he just wanted to pass it on to someone younger like a Ron Sanchez, who was more comfortable and more prepared to do the job in Virginia.
Well, Coach, we certainly appreciate the time, and we're looking forward to another great season with you on CBS. I mean, people say you retired, but you actually have more jobs now than you did when you were a head coach. So thanks a lot for spending some time with us. Can't wait to get the season going.
Me too, Chris. Can't wait to be working with you, buddy, and all of our CBS basketball family.
Jay Wright with us on HQ Spotlight as we move within 2 weeks of the season tipping off. Some of our marquee games, including that Thanksgiving Classic from Kansas City right after Bears-Lions on CBS Thanksgiving Day, Illinois and Arkansas. We got a couple of Blue Bloods going head-to-head in the CBS Sports Classic, North Carolina, UCLA, then Kentucky, Ohio State. And we also have a bunch of marquee women's games as well, including the Big Ten Championship game on CBS. Nearly 300 games across all networks this season, culminating with the Final Four.